into it, but it's super easy to find. It's free. Come down. And here's Maru, who's currently 1-0. A lot of new fans since he joined JINAIR Green Wings, especially after his OSL victory. And he's defeated a Protoss player already.
Yep, he took out Stork. Very, very, I shouldn't say famously, but a very awesome game to watch. Make sure you guys check out the VODs there. You can find them on Twitch, SC2 Pro League. Make sure you're following them, subscribe to them as well. But yeah, I mean, against Protoss specifically, he played a very incredible game. And that was on Outboxer, I believe. But this will be on Bel'Shir-Vestige. It might be a little bit different. We might see some different plays out of him. I really want to see what he can do, especially on this map against Protoss. Really change it up.
Yeah.
Will Maru continue his very good play against Protoss?
He's up against this man, Stats, 109 versus 71 losses. So a pretty high win ratio. This one, of course, includes his StarCraft Brood War results. He's also currently 1-0 in Pro League like Maru. Has not yet played a match against Terran, so this is going to be his very first time. And it looks like he's got very, very specific mouse sensitivities he's got set up. What he's doing, by the way, guys, which is what a lot of people do, a lot of professional players do, is they will look up the Windows mouse settings, the exact tick that they have it on, turn off their mouse acceleration, and after they set that tick in the Windows settings, they will go specifically into StarCraft and set the exact percentage that they want, because I want to make sure that their mouse sensitivity is the same exact setup that they have at home. And you guys know they're practicing from the same size monitors, of course. It's standardized as it is in Pro League. It's standardized in Korea. So that's not an issue for them, resolutions or anything like that.
Stats a player like Flash. Flash loves to rule out everything, make sure everything is exactly aligned so that it's exactly the same every game he plays. You know, it may not seem much to you guys, but these guys who play so many different games, it just has to be exactly correct, or basically exactly correct.
Yeah.
For them. Stats having a lot of stats on what mount sensitivities he has within StarCraft and within Windows.
Yeah, it's really something that's important to have. I used to have this as well, and all my hotkeys, because I customize my hotkeys like crazy. Then hotkeys got globally implemented in StarCraft, so you don't actually have to save those when you go from computer to computer, only when you change accounts. But it's really nice to have all that stuff written down on a piece of paper if you're a competitive player, a professional player who does this for a living, and you need to make sure your settings are correct. You know, use somebody like Flash, who rather than the numbers on the paper, actually takes a ruler and measures exactly how far he wants his mouse pad to be from the edge of the desk, so that when he puts his hand on the mouse, it's in the exact place that he wants it. We talked about raising your monitors, you know, something that you guys can try at home if you haven't yet. Some people like to measure how high they have the monitors up. So this is really, really tense right now. Maru has to win to force the ace match. If he loses here, KT will still take it. A tough matchup for Terran right now, but Maru still highly favored here, the more successful player in StarCraft 2, especially in Heart of the Swarm. Stats has a tough match ahead of him here, and if he can't do it, we are going to that ace match on Yunsu.
Yeah, we're going to have to see whether or not the Protoss advantage that everybody has been talking about pays off for Stats, or will Maru, with his very, very nice play against Protoss so far, continue that against Stats? Player, like you said, probably not as hyped, so we're going to have to see how it goes.
Yep, let's go ahead and jump into our fourth and perhaps final match on Bel'Shir-Vestige. Maru up against Stats, Terran versus Protoss. 2014 SK Telecom, StarCraft 2 Pro League. Brendan and Wolf. All right, it's not ready yet. The computer's not ready. We don't have a PC that has the chat open, so I can't tell you guys what's happening.
Yeah, we did get reduced from 2 monitors down to 1, so you guys see us on screen looking at this 1 monitor. We don't quite have the observing PC.
We have to sit really close to each other, but I feel really comfortable here. And yeah,
I feel comfortable next to you too, Wolf.
Well, that's good to know, because if you didn't, I would want to know. I want you to tell me.
If I was uncomfortable, I should tell you. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
It just wouldn't be fair to you. Like, I should let you know about
just like if I have napkin bits on my face, okay? You got to tell me these things. This is why I trust you, because you're going to tell me these things. You're going to let me know.
And I hope you do the same for me, Wolf. I would not expect any less.
I absolutely would. I would do it with somebody I didn't even care about, because it's just the right thing to do. Whoa, that chair does not need to be treated like that.
That guy just taking out back. The camera also knocking into something over there. I mean, the thing about the tissues on your face and stuff, that sometimes is seen as rude, you know, like calling someone out, like, hey, look at you, you have something on your face.
Right, yeah.
But you don't have to do it. You don't have to be like, hey, look at that guy, he's got stuff on his face.
It's just
like,
easy.
Look
It's
at
easy
him.
to say, oh, sorry, I just want to let you know you have some mustard on your chin.
And if you're in a big group, you can maybe text him, do it in a subtle way. Just be like, hey, let him know. Just tap him on the shoulder and be like, hey, man, there's something on your chin. You know? take a look at that. You know?
Yeah. You know, the thing is, even if you're in a group of people, it's okay to say it in front of everybody because it's just that your friend's doing a good thing, and all of the people are going to see that that's a good friend, and nobody should laugh at you.
You don't have to be embarrassed if that happens to you. You should be like, oh, wow, thanks. I have such good friends.
Yeah, exactly. You know? That's exactly what you feel.
That's
all the rest of the people, anybody who snickers in that group, they're not in my group of friends, okay?
They get slapped in more than one place.
So here are our current results to remind you guys of where we're at right now. KT Rolster took our first 2 wins, 2 Terran victories in a row. Not the most common thing to see in this season of Pro League just yet. Then Cure was able to take our 3rd Terran victory in a row against Zest. Really solid defense, really great builder opening. And now we're going to see if Maru can bring us to 4 Terran wins in a row and bring us to the ace match here.
I mean, there's so much talk right now, especially about Terran versus Protoss, especially that matchup, about how Protosses are just so strong against Terran. And all of the Terrans today, so far, I guess you can't really say that about Flash because he did play against Zerg, but of course, you know, he still is a Terran. All these Terrans are saying, hey, you know, Terran is still strong. You can still win with Terran.
Yeah.
You can still make it work.
They certainly are letting people know. Today's matches, as you could see right now, currently on air is JINAIR versus KT Rolster. Later on, we're going to have CJ Entist against Samsung Galaxy Con. Tomorrow's matches at the same time will be Prime versus MVP, SK Telecom T1 against Incredible Miracle, and then on Tuesday, once again at 7 p.m., we're going to have JINAIR Green Wings against CJ Entist. And the last match for this week will be KT Rolster against Samsung Galaxy Con. So a lot of exciting matches to look forward to this week.
Yeah, and just to reiterate, again, it is going to be every Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at 7 o'clock Korean Standard Time. So make sure you find out what time that is for your time zone and get those clocks set. I know that on the East Coast where I'm from, it is 5 o'clock in the morning that it does start. So that's kind of rough, but make sure you at least tune into the VODs if you're watching this from the VODs.
Yeah. And we are finally ready, it looks like, here to go to Maru versus Stats on Bel'Shir-Vestige. Another Terran versus Protoss. Can Maru tie things up, bring us to the ace match, get that 4th Terran win in a row? Let's find out right now at the 2014 Pro League.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Down here in the bottom right, we have the red Terran player playing for JINAIR. So much hype around this guy. This is Maru.
So young, so talented, called the Marine Prince, up against the Protoss player. Looking a little bit stressed here, trying to reach deep within himself to find the strength to take out such a successful Terran. It's Stats for KT Rolster. Maru, such a great player, and a great player to put out 4th, because if they come to dire straits and they really, really need him, he's someone they can rely on to tie things up here, and a lot of people would favor him here. Again, I want to mention it's TY's 6th anniversary today, at least the celebration of which he's been playing for 6 years competitively since 2007. December 5th was his first Pro League match.
Yep, and he, thankfully for him and his fans, he did win that first match for him and KT Rolster. That DVP, make sure you check that out on the VODs.
Yeah, if you didn't yet. If you didn't catch it, because of you already looking at the VODs, I don't know what sort of technology you have. There's a shot of him. Getting some cheers from the crowd, of course, as he deserves. So, we have a gas first here for Maru, something that you would expect to see from the early days of Wings to Liberty Maru, where he was cheese, you know, he was 3 cheese, like on your pizza. You know, you get that pizza that says 3 cheese.
3 cheese, 4 cheese.
4 cheese.
I think there's 4 cheese Doritos, you know.
4 cheese Doritos.
You go to France, you have like 7 different types of cheese. You go to the cheese store, you go up to 20, 25. That was this guy.
Yeah, like Maru was familiar with Gouda cheese, and he could tell you about how long you should age it. That's basically how many different aggressive all-in builds he had in Wings of Liberty when Terran was really strong for that. Banshee play, 1 base siege tank Banshee, the Raven push with Marines with combat shields, you know, double 2-port Banshee. That was Maru. That was the Maru of old. A lot of people called him a one-trick pony. He was doing double factory Hellions. He was double factory Blue Flame Hellions. He was doing all sorts of all-in cheesy builds that relied upon surprise. But in the later stages of Links of Liberty, and where he really got his biggest success in Heart of the Swarm, was based upon macro play and aggressive timings. Not all-in timings, but aggressive timings where he got ahead of his opponent. And that's the type of play that it looks like we're going to see here. Unfortunately for him, though, Stats has already scouted this.
Yeah, Stats saw everything. He did even see the factory go down as well. A reactor is getting started on the barracks, probably going to switch to the factory, throw out some of those Hellions, get some good scouting information. Fast units on the map. He does have the SCV in the base so far right now, and he does see only one gas so far.
And we have a very, very diligent probe scout here for Stats, checking the entirety of the left side of the map, just to make sure that it's not going to be a proxied starport to drop off any Hellions later on, or even to make Banshees. And he's comfortable enough, despite seeing this, to make a Nexus off of one gateway. And what we're going to see is, at the very beginning, at least, we're going to see Hellions coming out via reactor to try to get into the main base, get some probe kills, and get some scouting. And what we may see, if we're lucky, if we get a special treat, is some of that Maru mech, some of the best mech out there.
I would love to see that, man. We were talking about before how this map could lead to some different play out of turns. Maybe Maru's going to give that here for us. I would love to see that. Hopefully he gives us a treat. He is coming out here with his first 2 Hellions, just scouting around, making sure there's nothing tricky going on. You can do that with those very fast cars.
Yep.
That Hellions are.
They are indeed. And what we see here also is a Stargate, which is a great response to this, because you can really shut down drops as well as continue to be aggressive while a player like Maru is out in the middle of the map trying to harass. He expects this. He's got his units on hold position. He's got the Mothership Core in the center, so it does the maximum amount of damage no matter which angle the Hellions come in on.
Yeah, Stats was completely prepared for that. He had those 2 units there for so long, as well as the Mothership Core. We do see the Medevac now picking up all these units.
Yeah, the Medevac is here for the follow-up, which is to go into the main base. And what we'll probably see is as soon as he goes into that main base, Overcharge will get dropped, and then he's going to try to attack the natural. And Oracle comes out here first. The other choice would have been to get a Phoenix to chase away and kill, finish the Medevac off, because he knows that that's coming. And the Mothership right in between the bases, ready for this. He needs to react on the other hand. He's not actually reacting very quickly. He's stacking up his probes here, Brennan. This could be a disaster.
He's stacking up the probes. The Hellions getting so many kills. The Photon Reactor going down, but already so many kills here. And one thing I did notice at the same time, the second he saw that Stargate, he did switch from a Banshee to a Viking, and now these Hellions at the same time trying to come in here. Some of those
my
probes
God,
lining up.
the probes are all lined up. Stats is not paying attention. Stats is losing way too much here. And it's not over yet.
He's continuing with the Hellions in here. He's trying to ward him up, but getting another extra kill, trying to stay and get more, but not yet. You see 18 probe kills so far for Maru. How many more can he get? That's the question. We see even now the Observer pointing that out, 27 to 21. This Oracle going to get warded off pretty nicely by the Viking.
Yep, he does get a few kills here, just 2, delays the command center, but that's all he could hope for, knowing that there's a Viking out early on in the game. 4 more Hellions on the way to cause more destruction here. 27 Harvesters to 23. Don't forget, Maru is on 1 command center, and with Chrono Boost, the worker count is going to stabilize quite easily. But this is still a great position for Maru, who may get yet even more probe kills. Looks like 4 more right there. So many of these probes weak from earlier. The Phoenix will finally shut this drop down. That's what I was talking about earlier. And oh, they're lined up. He gets all 4 of them. Is there a force on the ramp? The answer is no.
There's 30 probes down, and it's not over yet. The Oracle's trying to chase after them, but even more getting killed there. The final Hellion does finally get picked up, but again, 29 to 14 probes now. He does have those 2 Nexi. He is able to Chrono Boost out a bunch of probes, but he's already lost 30 of them. That is such a huge number to even say.
And that means he's using all of his Chrono Boost on what limited resources he has to produce more probes, which means a follow-up attack by Maru is going to be so deadly, potentially. He's got a Banshee going across the map, which is risky since there's a Phoenix on the map. But if he can even get over and distract the Phoenix with his Banshee while he sends Hellions into the main base again, with that medevac we see over on the left side, he could lose even more. And even if he saves everything, he doesn't lose any more probes, which is basically a statistical impossibility as proven here by the Banshee, then he's already in a terrible place economically. The Phoenix is so far away to deal with the Banshee. He's just chasing down the probes, ignoring the Stalkers.
Yeah, he's just trying to do as much damage to the economy, dropping 4 Hellions in the base, main base as well. Those probes lining up, so many more kills going down for all of these Hellions.
This is game. He might actually just type out here, there's nothing else to do in this game. There's absolutely nothing. 8 probes left to 33, 2 CCs against 2 Nexi, so he's got the double mules, and what he has as a follow-up is mech play. And he's just going to continue to send Hellions across the map until, Brendan, there is not 1 probe left, and we may actually see that. With the amount of Hellions he's got here, and the limited lackluster defense that we've seen from Stats so far, coupled with the fact that he's got very few units left in general, I think we may actually see every single probe eliminated.
We do have an Oracle over here trying to do some damage. That Viking was forced to land. He is going to get blown up now.
Yeah, he's actually killed the medevac as well. Not a whole lot of anti-air here. But let's see how well we can see a defense from Stats this time. Looks like he's going to lose the majority of his probes in the natural here. No sentries still. He doesn't have the gas to do so. He's not even mining gas here in the main base. Probes stacking up again. Every single probe in the main base looks to fall. 1 probe left. And he's just going to run around, ringing around the Rosie here. 5 Hellions going to the natural. Force field is perfectly timed, but the damage has already been done.
Yeah, you saw their 58 probes kills there. Hellions eventually not going to get out, but you just see even in the supply 28 right now. And like you said before, the only thing that Stats can do right now is make probes. He has to spend those minerals on probes because he has to get that economy up. He only has 13 probes right now compared to the 37 and the mules. Of course, now 4 mules down for Maru and just 3 factories, starport and the barracks. It's just looking way too good for Maru. Like you said before, it's probably going to be game.
This group of Phoenix and the one Oracle that we saw did a little bit of damage, but it's like a fly paired with a mosquito to fight a rhinoceros. It's just not going to happen. We've got all of these siege tanks moving across the map. There are more siege tanks than stalkers, I think, at this moment in time. Doesn't even have to siege up. He's got the Hellions to defend against Zealots on the ground. The biggest ally for Maru is still that fly and that mosquito, maybe to eventually push this back because there's no anti-air minus the Viking. I just don't see this happening. There's now 2 Vikings, so all he has to do is repair, and I don't think that there's any way Stats holds this.
Yeah, he could even put up some missile turrets as well. The Photon Overcharge is going to delay it for a bit, but he's going to be in a pretty nice spot here. He's going to try to fight this right now.
Yep, and there's a little bit of repair going on. No missile turrets. Would have been a good idea, though. I like what you mentioned there. And this is kind of annoying for Maru, who just, quite frankly, doesn't have enough anti-air to continue to push this through with the overcharge there. So he uses that overcharge to buy himself some time, but Maru's next wave of attacks is going to be the deadliest one. I'm really, really curious to see if Maru adds a second starport, because that would, or even just switches the starport with the reactor on the factory so he can get double Vikings, because that would be the one thing he's missing, is anti-air.
Yeah, that is definitely the one thing he's missing. He's trying to focus down that Oracle. I don't think he's going to get it.
Nope.
It continues to live, and now he's just going to come in with this force. The one thing that Stats does not have is ground force, so he is going to do this and just go in and attack. The Phoenix is desperately trying to pick up stuff, but not even sieging up. He's just going to focus down this Nexus.
He's repairing his Hellions with mules. That's the situation we're in. There's the Nexus. It's gone. And actually, no Vikings in production. He's just ignoring the fact that his opponent has air units. Force field here on the ramp, but with vision, he can do so much.
That one tank taking home up in that one force field.
Whoa! That was weird. That one tank is not afraid, not scared in the slightest by those oracles. Sieges up again here on the ramp. All the SCVs being pulled. Maru just does not care. He's asking him politely to get out of the game. The DTs, on the other hand, look to change things, and this game isn't over yet, especially if Maru really starts to over-exaggerate his confidence here.
Yeah, he doesn't have anything in the main base to detect this. He's going to have to rely on scans. He is going to pull the SCVs for now, but continuing with a bunch of these Phoenixes to pick up these tanks, he's actually got to be careful here.
If Maru throws this game, I don't think it's possible, but if he did, that would be quite a story. It reminded me of Inca versus Rain back in GSL Season Open 3.
Oh boy,
that was a game to look up if you haven't seen it. But I don't. He can only lose this game on purpose. There's way too much in the main base for Stats. Stats is trying to hang on here by a thread. Maru has already won the game. DT Warpins would be futile with all the scans that Maru has saved. He's now on top of this. GG, and Maru, the 4th Terran player to win in a row today, will actually tie us up and bring us into the ace match.
Oh boy, what do we have today, man? 4 Terrans in a row. A crazy strategy coming out of Maru to really change this up. I have to say, Stats was definitely not prepared for that, not responding well to anything that Maru was throwing at him. probably not expecting the Banshee follow-up as well. The drops from the Hellions in the main base. So many pros by the end of this being killed, almost over 58.
That's that crisp Maru leaf that we were talking about.
Yeah.
That's when Maru says, "Oh yeah, Pross is really strong right now." The Pross is 7-2 against Terrans on Bel'Shir right now. That's kind of tough. I'm not gonna play straight up. I'm not gonna play the game that you expect. I'm gonna gas first, go mech, and before that, I'm gonna harass you until you have nothing left. That's the execution. That's the preparation that won Maru in OSL. That's the type of execution that gets Maru really high up in GSL Code S, and that's why he's 2-0 in Pro League right now this season. Against Protoss is both.
He's just so crisp. He's basically almost falling apart. He's been burnt so much. It's crazy.
He is the deadest leaf that's fallen off the tree.
I mean, stats in the beginning, he was prepared with the units on the ramp. He was there to block the Hellions. The Hellions doing a bit of damage to the natural probes, but then the drops in the main with the Hellions, he probably wasn't expecting that. And then just all over him was Maru.